So we're in midsummer in central Victoria, Australia, and this one is going to be a long one, a long video, as I want to document some changes I've made and record my thoughts on future ideas. So this section where the Kelpie is currently is where I'm thinking of putting a meadow in this circular section, which is kind of like a roundabout that we drive around. So come autumn, I might even hire a rotary tiller and till it. And that's where I'm going to plant all the cornflower seeds that are currently in the front garden. Poppy seeds, corn cockle, and maybe some straw flower as well. Let it be watered by the winter and spring rains, and then mow it down in summer next year. So that's an idea for autumn. I've been watering this linden tree a fair bit because I would like it to grow a bit quicker. I'm really looking forward to getting my silver birches in autumn down in that bed there too. But the big changes have started to happen already. So this bed is new. Dad and I made it not long ago, and I couldn't help myself and I went ahead and bought some canna and planted them, and I'm really pleased with how they look already. But two of them, I think this one and this one, can get nearly 2 meters tall, so they'll be quite spectacular next year, I should think. This rose, I really don't think it's going to come back, but I'll leave it there for a bit longer because I have so many other projects, and I will buy a new rose for that spot. Now, this magnolia, heaven sent magnolia, is flowering in the middle of summer, to my surprise. So I wasn't even expecting it to flower next spring, thinking it needed more time to establish, but it's already flowering, and it was only planted in spring. So I'm looking forward to the scent to see if it really does live up to its name of heaven scented. Some volunteer cosmos, of course, and one of my many recent purchases is this Escallonia Pink L. I need to mulch it a bit, but that should be quite a nice big plant there. And I'm going to continue the bed on, as I've said before, and I worked on the smoke bush today, just working on the shape because it was getting very big and unruly. And I've done a lot of pruning of the wisteria today. over there. So today is the 18th of January. The sun is rising at 6:23 and setting at 8:44 p.m. We had a maximum today of 29 and a minimum of 16. These are garlic chives, I believe, and they're flowering, that bunch, but they're not flowering anywhere else, so they must be very happy there. The agapanthus are all in full bloom now. This bed's doing a lot better since I've put the irrigation in, but my geraniums are all suffering a little bit, and I believe I've got thrips everywhere, so my flowers are suffering as a result. However, this David Austin climbing rose is blooming really well. It has a very nice perfume. I'm going to start battling the thrips with some neem oil. So here's some more garlic chives that are not flowering yet. I moved this daisy because and it's looking a bit sorry for itself. We'll see if that daisy survives, but I had to move it because I planted a burning bush here and the daisy was right here. Another rogue sunflower. I've been pulling a lot of them out. Yeah, so I've got this burning bush with the purpose of looking amazing in autumn. I think maybe it's kind of starting to turn very early. I've got a lot of deadheading that needs to be done of Achillea everywhere so that those new flowers can put on another show. This angel's wings is just not looking that great. I'm not sure if that will survive. We'll see. So here's a big change. I had a pear here, and it was actually rootstock pear because the original pear died, and it did very well here. It grew even taller than this. But I decided, being in that spot where we can see from the house, I wanted something more spectacular. So this is a crab apple with a beautiful double pink blossom in spring and it promises to have nice autumn colour as well. So I made that decision to buy a mature one, and we'll see how that goes there. Looks pretty happy already. I have been doing a lot of playing around on ChatGPT, and I'll show you what I did with this idea. I put up a picture of what it looked like with the pear, and I asked ChatGPT to show me what it would look like with a crab apple, and this is what it looked like. It showed me a spring version and a autumn version, and after seeing that, I pretty much immediately went out and purchased a crab apple. And spending time digging the pear out yesterday, I noticed this view of the front garden, and it kept distracting me from my work. And it looks even better now because I've thinned out all those rogue cosmos, and I've shaped that smoke bush. We had some major bushfires over the last week or so. We had to evacuate from our house. The bushfires started just over there. Basically, but the wind was going from the north, and that was a main reason, I think, why our house was saved, or not in danger anyway. So we feel very lucky. We did have no electricity for a while, so we had to buy a generator. Beautiful agapanthus. Some people don't like them because they're weeds, but here in our dry, hot summers, they offer some very pretty colour, and they don't need watering at all, which is really amazing. I planted the pear on a whim here after I chopped it off, so we'll see if it survives. I thought if it survives, great. If not, no problem. We've decided to get rid of all the eucalyptus trees after that fire in our house yard, because eucalypts are just fire bombs and too dangerous. Helga. This is another area that I had a play on ChatGPT to show what my ideas, my vision for this area would look like. So I showed it again, a picture of the area, and then I put in a prompt as to what I wanted, and it did a pretty good job. It looks very impressive. So it did have trouble doing the hedge I want. Down this side I want a hedge of English lavender, and they're already there. Halfway along it changes to euphorbia. So it had trouble doing that. But other than that, it did a good job. I definitely want the succulent gardens with no irrigation. So it's nice to see your vision before you kind of wait for everything to grow. Apparently, I did a bit of research. Here's this hedge. It is coming along. The echium probably won't flower until next spring, and I thought maybe it would flower this summer. And I think probably likewise with the Nyphophia. But if they do flower at the same time, that will be a nice contrast with the red-orange Nyphophia against the blue-purple echium. I need to trim the Hardenbergia again. My little hedge here of pomegranate is coming along slowly, and same with that one around there. The rose campions are definitely bigger. I watched my last video on January 1st this morning, and they're much bigger than what they were. The other thing was that after the fires, and just a few days ago now, there was a huge storm, and after having no rain for so long, we had 35 mils in half an hour. And so our driveway, the dirt on our driveway, ended up down on our terrace. So this driveway is a problem, and we are going to spend some time and money fixing it one day. But first, we're going to get rid of all those eucalypt trees. That's our first priority. This desert hollyhock has actually doubled in size since last video. So hopefully next video it will be up to here. Be nice to see a flower on it too. I'm looking forward to its orange flowers. I have a space here, and I don't know what to put there, but I'm sure it will come to me. And I had a nice surprise this morning when checking out the miscanthus. It is going to flower. I think it's been in for 3 seasons. This is its 3rd season. So that's lovely. These little geraniums I grew from seed are starting to take off, but they do take their time. And the Shasta daisies are still very slow, but I really think I need to divide them. There's several seedlings in there together. But the Roseanne geranium is looking better all the time, every day. these two new salvias have put on a new flush, and I think I should deadhead that one and it will put on more flowers. This sedum has never flowered for me. I'm not sure why. I would have thought it got enough sun. It looks nice, but I thought it might flower. Another thing to research. I see these in the nurseries a lot at the moment, and I keep forgetting to look at the label to see what they are. But the birds love the berries that they form, and I like the see-through habit of them. More deadheading needed on this pink buddleia. And here's that geranium Roseanne. I see why people really like them. They just flower reliably, and while I have a thrips problem everywhere, this is not one of them. We had some very hot days, and the day of that fire, when it started, it was actually a 42-degree day, and it was a northerly wind, which is a hot wind here, and a very big fast wind. So that's why the fire was such a devastation. Houses in our local town did burn down. And the rest of us feel very lucky. But we've had high 20s really the last few days, so it's been very nice. This is my problem bed, but I'm gradually solving it. I've planted some salvias in here. I transplanted some gora and chrysanthemum, and in winter I'm definitely going to fix the front section, get rid of all the granite boulders in there, put compost in. I believe this geranium has thrips because the flowers just are barely blooming. Yeah, so I'll come back to that bed. And since of course I've got the irrigation in, it's a lot better. I did remove the 2 Sunday phrase hydrangeas from that bed because they were just looking really bad. They just cannot compete with those she oaks, and I have replanted them in this bed. So I did have a Magical Evolution and a white ball hydrangea here. I've moved them at under the camellia there, and that candlelight was here, but I've moved it there so it matches the other candlelight that I propagated on the other side. I bought another Sunday phrase hydrangea and I replanted or transplanted the 2 from that tricky bed here. Now already, while they're not looking that great, already I can see an improvement. They were looking really sick. So I think they're going to be fine, and hopefully next season this will be a Sunday phrase hydrangea hedge with a candlelight at the end. And this candlelight has also liked the transplant. It's looking better here. So that's satisfying. I also tidied up these pots, trimmed back the buddleia and put a stake. I couldn't help myself. I had no idea petunias had a perfume. So I planted this one. Its flowers have all gone at the moment. I left a pansy and added some dichondra, and repeated that idea here with a purple petunia. Here's my cutting of the candlelight, and it is going to flower. The snowball viburnum has grown a lot. So I've got some different colours, which is good, of this calendula. That's exactly what I wanted. However, there were more colours, and I'm a bit grumpy with my chickens that got in one day because they scratched this bed really badly, and I lost some calendula seedlings. So perhaps because of those chickens, I don't have as many colours as I wanted, but I will order some other colours and try again. I'm not sure about these salvias. I do like them, but I'm not sure I want them there, even though they do really well there. So I don't know. It's just something I'm mindful of every time I walk past it. So here's a magical evolution hydrangea planted under the camellia. It gets the same kind of sunlight, so I'm hoping it does as well. The transplant did send the flowers backwards, but the leaf is looking really good. So I think it'll be fine with that transplant. But I know for sure that this white ball hydrangea is loving its new spot, because the new growth is already looking better. Now it gets a lot of shade, which I think it likes. It just gets a little bit of sunshine in the late afternoon. And it's very late afternoon, early evening, so it's not harsh sunshine. So this is where the fire started. Directly that way. You could see the smoke coming up into the sky. Yeah, it was pretty scary. We left immediately with the cat and the dog. So my lawn, it needs a bit of a change of plan. I have used a weed and feed on it with the hose, but I don't believe that it worked. I think my connection with the hose didn't work for some reason, so I'm going to do that again. and just continue to water it. I've got a plan to aerate it in autumn and to then reseed it with a tall fescue, I think. But this is another area that I had a play with ChatGPT, and I asked it to show me what I want to do, because under that maple I want to put a shade garden. And so once again I gave it the picture and I asked it to show me my ideas, and I was really impressed, and I'm hoping I can achieve that one day. I'll get rid of that rosemary and put, guess what, more Sunday Fraise hydrangeas there. So this is my Scandi garden, which is very slow, but the 2 pencil pine cypress have definitely grown. My little remaining one there is a bit slow. But it will get there. The dog has decided to wee on the tuja and is sending some of the leaves brown. That's a bit annoying, so I might see if I can prevent that somehow. I am delighted that this moonflower has finally taken off. But we're in midsummer and I'm hoping we see flowers. I transplanted this moonflower here from the next bed I'm about to show you, because it just was not doing well. It just did not like the position, and I think it's already liking this position. So hopefully these moonflowers will put some nice, beautiful, perfumed white flowers on before the first frost, when they will die. I've been watering this rose more and I'm surprised at the result. It basically means the flowers don't wilt as quickly. So that's a really good tip. And there's been a change in this bed. So as I just said, the moonflowers that I did have growing here, they didn't like it. They looked terrible. So I moved one to that Scandi bed and another one to my island bed there. And in its place I have planted a clematis, and this is a Rubens with a pink flower in spring that has a nice perfume. So it's already liking that position. It's just much better suited to that area, which gets hot afternoon sun reflected back on that wall. And my goal is that the clematis will absorb that heat, or cope with that heat, and cool the area for these 3 hydrangeas. The Hercules hydrangea really did suffer in the 40+ heat, and so I have taken off all the flowers that were forming. Just let it really does need to grow a bit more and get stronger before it has flowers. The heat also affected this Sunday Fraise hydrangea, but basically because I had a shade cloth up and the shade cloth was touching the hydrangea, so that's what turned the flowers a bit brown. The oak leaf hydrangea is doing well. No flowers this season, so hopefully next season. Now, this is a spot. that troubles me. I've got forget-me-nots planted, but they just don't thrive there. So I'm thinking of planting, either letting the thyme creep over or planting a comfrey there, because comfrey seems a lot tougher. And I really like the flowers that comfrey have. Okay, another change here. And this is another area that I had a bit of a play with ChatGPT. I noticed that my Maya lemon just was not thriving and was starting to look sicker and sicker the hotter the weather got and the drier it got. So I did a bit of research, and I did have the hops here, and I found out that hops is a very aggressive thug basically, and so I made the decision to pull it out. And I've always wanted an ornamental grape, and now I've got one. And an ornamental grape is much more suited to this condition. The hops didn't like it anyway. Again, the sun hitting that wall was not an ideal climate for hops, whereas grape can handle it and they'll love it. When I dug the hops out, the roots extended to the entire width of this bed, and it ran along everywhere. So it was using all of the water and all of the nutrients, and that's why the lemon, and in fact everything else, couldn't thrive. So I dug it all out. It took me a long time, but I dug out every root, and if the hops comes back, it's simply a matter of keep pulling it until it weakens. That's what I've read anyway. But already that grape is liking the area. The lemon looks a lot better than what it did. I went ahead and planted some petunias and some angelonia, which I've always wanted to try after hearing other gardeners rave about it. I'm not sure that I do like it, but I'll see how it goes. So this is what ChatGPT showed me. What I asked it to, I gave it a picture again, and I asked it to show me what this space will look like in the future. And it showed me again a summertime version and an autumn version, which again made me act pretty immediately to get that hops out. So this garden is doing okay. This Sunday phrase is already changing colour. But surprising, I wasn't expecting this. My oak leaf hydrangea, which I think is a munchkin, also has some pinky hues in the flower. So that's a nice surprise. I've planted another, what do you call it, begonia there. I did that last season and it didn't come back. Apparently I should have dug it up. I'm not sure if it's doing well or not. The flowers are a bit brownish, so I might have to research that. I finally started deadheading and removing all the foxgloves in this island bed. So it's looking tidier, but I need to finish that off and get rid of a lot of those sunflowers. The echinops, the white echinops are coming along nicely, but the blue echinops is still a baby. Unfortunately, I believe this gardenia also has thrips, so I definitely want to start treating that so I get to enjoy the perfume. I understand that thrips do not like moisture or humidity, so part of my routine has been to wet the whole plant when I water that pot. See if that makes a difference. I still need to think of something better to put in that pot. Another Sunday phrase hydrangea here. And there's another moonflower that was being attacked by the Slater bugs. And it's coming back. And the other moonflower that I transplanted is in here too. Difficult to see because there's not much to it at the moment. It got so sick. But it is coming back, so we'll see. Now, exciting stuff with this Sarah Bernhardt Oriental lily. They are flowering and the perfume is really, really nice and really strong. This one in particular. It fills the space, the perfume. So this is their first year, so I'm hopeful that they will continue to get bigger and more prolific. And the Dahlia Cafe au lait is doing a bit better since I cut a lot of it out. Okay, I said this would be a long tour, and it is. So this is the bed that I've been planting things into. Also some agastache, which I believe is a perennial, so it should come back. Yeah, but the other thing is I put this bed into ChatGPT. And this is what it showed me. So I'm going to go for that concept. Lots of things close together, things that can survive. Gora, Nepeta, Dusty Miller, Sage, Salvia, a little bit of oregano and marjoram, but not as much as I have now. Chrysanthemum, the snowberry does fine. The cistus does fine. Achillea, there's a new agastache. Snapdragons are okay. Yeah, so it's just going to be a mass planting of all that stuff. My geums and my scabiosa all have thrips. So they will all be on the treatment plan from tonight. I'm hosing them as well, wetting the entire plant. So hopefully before frost I will get some actual flowers from them. I love watching that Gora when it is windy. I don't like it when it's windy, but that does look pretty magical. This Sunday Phrase hydrangea is doing really well. Another Shasta daisy that I grew from seed, taking its time to grow up. All my seaside daisy needs cutting back. And the Westringia does really well, as with the Euphorbia wolfenii. There's a chrysanthemum that does well. I have pomegranates popping up in some areas. I'm just leaving them there because pomegranates are so easy to grow here. They don't need water and they are fire resistant. So I'm going to put pomegranates everywhere. The lavender needs cutting back. This Sunday Phrase hydrangea is doing really well. And this is where I've been working a lot recently, pulling out all that rogue cosmos. Looks a lot better. I can show you a before and after. Here I started whippersnippering all these weeds growing through the cobbles, but I stopped because I've decided to poison them, get rid of them, because I whippersnipper all the time and they just come back even when it's dry. So that will be happening soon. This pomegranate I'm going to shape into a nice ball. And look at this, Florida gardenia, no thrips, and it is doing so much better. It used to have, look a bit sick, yellow leaves, the buds were falling off. I tried everything and then I just started watering it every day, and that has done the trick. And I'm wondering if, you know, being Florida, whether it really prefers a more humid environment, and so watering it every day has perhaps helped it in that regard. I also discovered one day in this bed that there was a huge puddle, and I heard the pump pulling the water from the dam even when I didn't have a tap on. So I put two and two together, and indeed we had a leak. What happened was that was absolutely filled, and it was a huge puddle whenever I turned a tap on or the pump on. So I had damaged the pipe once before digging, and we had to put this join in, and the join had come loose. So I dug out all the dirt and my husband fixed it for me. So I just need to put all the dirt back in. I'm really happy with this Cleome. And again, I can see why people like them so much. I only had 3 Cleomes. There's another one that survived that I grew from seed. So I'm hoping they self-seed really well. So ever since I pulled out all those rogue cosmos, we can see plants better, and the plants will get more sun, like these campanula in here. They were just completely shaded in by the cosmos. yeah, so hopefully that will help everything along now. Here's my crepe myrtle. Flowering. It's nice when that becomes a proper tree. I've got straw flower everywhere, so I'm hoping I can use this seed to put into my meadow when I make it. More Achillea that needs deadheading and cutting right back. I'm going to, this is a Russian giant, and I'm going to save the seed from that flower. Definitely plant that again. All this calendula has gone to seed. I need to come and chop it before it seeds everywhere. There is some more rogue cosmos. I am allowing some of it to stay. This one is shading a spirea. So apparently spireas should also do well in my tricky bed underneath the she oaks. So I might move the spirea I have in this bed over there. I'll make all those decisions in winter, I think. I had a big cosmos here shading this autumn joy sedum. I'm really delighted with this. Now this is a gold loddon. I brought the tag with me. Loddon gold. I'll be able to see. Got it on Loddon gold helianthus. Yeah, it's a perennial. Daisy-like flowers. It's quite fluffy, I would call it. Gets to 1.5 meters high. So I'm just really impressed with the flowers. They're just so big and blousy looking. These other dahlias have finally started flowering. Through the jungle. There's a smoke bush in its new shape. And that's the official cosmos bed, where they're actually allowed to grow. Now I brought the label for this too. It's a Leonidas leonurus, or have I got that around the wrong way? Leonidas leonurus, otherwise known as lion's ear. So that's the flowers, and the flowers have started to bloom. And another one, I brought the label out. This is another helianthus, angustifolius, and it'll get to 2 meters, so I'm not sure I've got it in the right spot, but I'm no longer afraid of moving things, so it will get moved if it doesn't belong there. Water feature continues to give me pleasure. as does this dahlia, which loves it here so much better in that difficult bed where I had it, where it hardly ever flowered. Hebes too. I put 2 Hebes over there. They do well, so I am thinking of moving the Hebes. We'll see. Okay, last bed. Another thing I'm not too sure about is the echinacea being here. I'm thinking of moving the echinacea either around here or in this bed, kind of in different spots. So the other thing is I'm thinking of putting dahlias in here. These are all my cornflowers, which I'll collect the seed and use that in the meadow when I do that in autumn. And I'll no longer grow cornflowers here because in the meadow I can mow them down this time of year, whereas here it's just too messy. So I might grow dahlias in here, I think. And what do I grow here? It just came to me, maybe I grow a cafe au lait. I was thinking about a pomegranate. I did have a pomegranate here and I moved it. It was very old, and a pomegranate is coming through the cobbles. So I'm going to move that pomegranate. I was thinking of putting it in here, shaping it in a ball like I am that other one. And yeah, but maybe the cafe au lait could do all right there. Something to think about, that just came to me. This Sunday Phrase hydrangea is doing well. These 2 stakes are here because on those 40 plus days, both the echinacea and the hydrangea didn't like it. So I put a shade cloth there and it worked really well. They didn't suffer at all. I've pruned this wisteria a lot today, so that was a bit of a monster, and I still need to put irrigation in this bed and just tidy it up. I have got creeping thyme growing in here and it is doing okay, but I need to weed it so that it can thrive a bit more, and that weed is still there, it needs to come out. But that is pretty much midsummer. For 2026. The other thing we did today was prune this rose, but we did a hard prune, probably a bit too hard. But I'm sure it will bounce back because it is as tough as old boots. So I'll finish up with some pictures of the sky I took, the pictures of the sky at sunset when we had a lot of smoke in the atmosphere.